Welcome back. Now, new pictures have emerged of Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in brown-face makeup. A third incident has now been reported by Global News and confirmed by his Liberal Party to be Justin Trudeau. In this short, undated video clip, Trudeau is seen in brown-face makeup waving. His arms and legs also appear to be painted. It is yet another damaging blow just weeks ahead of the country's general election. The first photo of him wearing brown-face makeup in 2001 was obtained by Time magazine. Well, earlier, the Canadian Prime Minister apologised for the photos.
I was a teacher out in Vancouver. I attended an end-of-year gala where the theme was Arabian Nights, and I dressed up in an Aladdin costume and put makeup on. I shouldn't have done that. I should have known better, but I didn't, and I'm really sorry.
Well, that was Justin Trudeau on the campaign trail, apologising. Let's head now and talk to the Globe and Mail's political reporter in Ottawa, Marika Walsh. Thanks so much for being here on the programme. Let's get right up to date with this latest video that's now emerged. Tell us more about that, first of all.
So the video, the Liberal Party says it's from the 1990s. So we now have images of Mr. Trudeau dressed up in brownface or blackface spanning from the 1980s into the early 2000s, one from high school, one from when he was a teacher, and then this other one that we saw from Global News today from the early 1990s. The party has confirmed all of these cases are the Prime Minister, the Liberal Leader of Canada. However, Mr. Trudeau did not acknowledge or point to this example last night when he was asked specifically, are there other examples? He was asked that after we saw the image from 2001 where he's dressed up in brownface, and he said the only other instance of that was in high school where he dressed up in blackface. And then, of course, now this morning we're seeing yet another example.
So take me through, I mean, in terms of the reaction there's been, how this is playing there in Canada, take me through it.
So the timing of this is just so brutal for the Liberals. It comes 8 days into a general election campaign. Voters go to the polls on October 21st. It was already a very, very tight race for the Liberals, who are the incumbent government, against the Conservatives, who are a party that sits to the right of the Liberals. And so the timing of this is problematic, but also the images cut to the core of Mr. Trudeau's brand. It's how he's painted himself and presented himself. He's made a focus of talking about inclusivity, diversity. He's made a point of having a gender-balanced cabinet, of lifting up and putting people of diverse backgrounds forward and high up in his government. And that's part of what is so damaging from these images, because it cuts to that. It brings questions up about what is actually going on. Yeah. And that's what the opposition is hitting on. The New Democrats, who sit to the left of the Liberal Party, have a leader who for the first time is a racial minority himself. He is a turbaned Sikh. And he has said, you know, what does this mean? Who is the real Trudeau? That is his attack line today. That is the question he is raising today. And then on the other side, we're seeing from the right of the spectrum, the Conservatives saying this shows that his judgment is not strong enough to govern.
Yes, of course, one remembers from a year or so back, I mean, he was ridiculed for some of the clothes he wore on that India trip and the dressing up, but nothing like the avalanche of criticism he's had with this. I mean, he has been just talking in the last hour or so. He's had a conference call with all Liberal candidates to discuss this crisis, and it is becoming a real crisis for him, isn't it?
I mean, I think the fact that I'm speaking to you right now speaks to the scale and the scope of this story. It is making headlines around the world, and it is indeed a massive crisis for this election. How do they decide to move forward? What do they change? What strategies do they employ to now try and gain a footing? The debates are in 2 weeks, and so certainly they're trying to regroup. One of my colleagues said that it just seems like the people on the road are just flattened. And so we do see that Mr. Trudeau is trying to reach out to his colleagues who are already elected incumbent MPs who are running again, and also new candidates. But certainly it's a tough hill to climb. What the Liberals are trying to present today is this notion of judging him by what he's done in government, not by his past actions. So Liberals have come out across the country defending him and saying, and pointing to his record in government to say people should be judging him on that and not what he did in 2001 or earlier.
Marika Walsh, thanks very much for bringing us right up to date there from Ottawa, and we'll keep an eye on that because we are likely to get more reaction from Justin Trudeau in a few hours' time. Thanks very much for that update.